Hi guys, Tones here. Welcome to my weekly review where I go through the trades I took on this previous week. I mainly trade Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm based in Eastern Australia, so I would trade Asia and UK for most of the time on my days off, and when I'm working, I only trade UK. This week, I took 4 trades on 3 setups. There's a trade where I took 2 entries. So happy about the amount of trades I took. This is my trades allow account. I'm finishing -1 R for the week. But if I put my trades here onto an R multiple, I'm actually positive. It's just that there is one of the trades I took half risk, and that trade was the only winner I had for the week. So I actually won half of what I should have. See, 3.3, it's actually 3.7 R, but TradeZilla calculates your fees into your risk. That's why this trade, instead of being just -1 R, it's 1.13, 1.23, just because the fees are included with it. But yeah, this week should have finished green. It didn't, because I went half risk on that winner. I'm happy about it, about this week anyway. It feels good to stack up a good win, even if it took me 2 attempts to get this one. I took a loss right before. That's why I want to focus on always being the constant risk as well, because as soon as you change and you have winner that came onto a lower position size, then it doesn't have the intended effect of counteracting your losers. So yeah, negative week. I'm gonna show you my breakout. This is a screenshot. These are my trades for the week here. And yeah, let me go through my week now. So to start the week, my bias was that we were gonna start Sunday and Monday, tap into here and probably create that aim formation on the higher time frame, and then head lower and either retest around here and keep going up, or just keep lower and retest. That's sort of the plan I had. Ethereum was similar. The only thing is, I was thinking that maybe Ethereum will sweep that previous week high, which is here, or even go to take the December highs, and then I would have had a nice divergence between Ethereum and Bitcoin, and this would have been my trigger. I really thought all this was going to come on Monday or even on Tuesday, and everything happened at CME Open on Monday right there, and price just tanked and caught, I think, everyone by surprise. If you were to grab this trade, honestly, it's quite an aggressive entry. There's nothing telling you that we're gonna break out. If like you see the chart at this point, like what tells you that you need to take a short? There's honestly nothing. And then when this next gray candle happened at open, for me it started to be, on a Monday, a bit of a big risk, big stop loss, because you never expect price to drop that much. And even on the 5 minutes, I don't think there was like any clean retest that was worth the shot just at CME market open here, which is 10 a.m. my time. So come Monday, so yeah, this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, full-time trading, and from Thursday, Friday, work, where I can only trade UK. So Asia didn't do anything. UK stayed up and then was holding Asia highs. Similar on Ethereum. I think Ethereum was holding 50% Asia, which is a very strong level too. And the bias I had is, this is definitely a mistake I made because it is counter trend trading, but this is such a big move with big imbalances before even the Asian market open, that sometimes you could see a sharp retrace, like US or UK would take back the move. I was expecting lower into this area, maybe a little bit lower. So I was trading really the idea of the retrace higher, and the price was sort of confirming to me that we were gonna go there. So here US open, we respect this demand, we grab some liquidity, we hold Asia highs, and I'm thinking, okay, that trade long is probably an option. I decided to take it on Ethereum, which usually Ethereum moves sharper than Bitcoin. If I drop down to the 5 minute, which will be better because that's where my entry was, On the 15, we were not we were still not above the 15-minute 50 EMA, but one of my conditions was I want at least price, which is usually an early move. So that 200 here on the 5 is pretty much the 50 EMA on the 15-minute. You want to break this and retest to be confident, okay, I'm going with the trend now. But because I approached it as just a retrace, I was just happy to have price holding the 5-minute 50 EMA, which is that blue EMA you see here. And I sort of had everything I wanted. Retested this demand. We grabbed some liquidity here at the just before the US market opens. And on lower time frames, we held these areas, and then here had railroad track, and I was happy to enter this trade here long. It just went nowhere for so long. One of my rules is that after 2 hours, if my trade is not decently in profit, I'll either go break even or close my trade or just put my stop loss right just under price to protect me. Because US, I wake up in the middle of the night, so here it's 1:30 a.m. I was already up for 2 hours and 45, so a little bit before my 2 hour mark, and I decide, okay, now that I had this retest here, the low of that retest is my invalidation. I don't want price to go lower than that. So at this point, I move my stop loss here and I go to bed. It's funny, I marked it because it was so funny. Like I'll go to bed. As soon as I go to bed, price hits my stop loss, and then I woke up here at 6:45, 7, and price was back at where I went to bed, and like this is rigged against me. But this was before Asia market opened, so did not re-enter, didn't do anything. I just waited for the rest of the day, and price ended up moving lower. So not upset about this. Protected myself, acted out of reason, followed my rules and my approach. Followed price action, protected my trade where if the trade was going to go there, it was just going to be invalidated. So that's for Monday. Then come Tuesday, and here is one of the setup I like the most. I call it the Janet setup because it comes from that coach, which was in the membership I was before, which I still like sort of follow the way they trade. So the setup is US will mark a high, and then dead gap zone, which is this area here before Asia, will fail to break this high, and then Asia will fail to break the high of the dead gap zone, which is what happened here on Ethereum as well. Dead gap zone, and then Asia here, rejection. I did not enter this trade that I saw on Bitcoin, which was quite nice. You have a nice rejection with a hammer. We take this high liquidity grab. We print a nice railroad track followed by an inverted hammer. This is honestly a really good trade if you want to put your stop there or above this supply area. But honestly, I would just put it here. Either target those lows, which make for a very quick trade, but really the target was this low down here, which was even a better trade. But at the moment, I didn't feel the trade that much. And I sort of decided I should follow the plan and this setup that I like because it's got a high win rate. And whether I feel it or not today is just an emotion, and it's not correlated to the actual price and data of the trade. And I was okay, if the setup presents is respecting the rules, I should enter that trade even if I don't feel it. Sometimes you have a gut feeling, it's experience. Sometimes you have a gut feeling, it's just nothing. It's just a gut feeling, and you shouldn't listen to it. So I decided to wait for confirmation. So I wait for a retrace, and what happens first is Ethereum breaks this imbalance here that you see, like that, this little gray rectangle, and then retested with this hammer. And at this time, it's 1:15. Bitcoin is still here down, and I don't have a clean entry. Honestly, the clean entry was here. This is why I took this trade after. But I entered first on Ethereum. I enter, price go down, and then straight up to my stop loss. and I realized, okay, maybe I'm wrong, maybe we're bullish and we're just gonna go up from there. And I usually not the type of person that is gonna re-enter a trade. I did it in December, and it was based really on emotion, and that it cost me a win after that. It was bad. And the other thing as well is, if I'm short and then I realize, oh shit, we're going up, I need to flip long. Yeah, this is usually not something I'm gonna do within 10 minutes or within the same session. It's pretty rare. That's why I like to have my second shot on another session, or later during the day. If I'm wrong, I'll just accept I'm wrong and I move on. I'll always reassess and say, okay, am I really wrong, or is something has changed, or is there something I didn't see? And that's exactly what happened on Ethereum, because when this candle, this big inverted hammer, closed back below all this, for me it was just a liquidity grab, while Bitcoin here at this stage was just retesting and giving me that confirmation entry I wanted. This is sort of the same one I had here on Ethereum. And I realized, okay, Ethereum is not as weak and it grabbed the liquidity, but Bitcoin is still following the model. Okay, let me enter on Bitcoin. It makes sense. But because I have this rule of 2 losses max per day, and it's only start of Asia, I want to still keep another shot up my sleeve. So that's why I went half risk on this trade, because if I'm wrong and I take another loss, I still have half a risk to take if something happened in UK or in US. And I enter this Bitcoin short, price moved nicely away, closed below this low. I had my protocol of going break even, so I'm break even on this trade, and I had an alert when price was close to my take profit. It's usually something I do, not all the time. Sometimes I have my take profit, I let price hit it and done, especially a 3-hour trade. It's good, it's really good trade. But here I had the alert because sometimes I like to monitor how price is approaching my TP. And if, like here, it was actually approaching my TP quite fast, what I'll do is I'll take my take profit away and I'll wait for price to drop, because sometimes when price hits those stop losses that are resting just below this low, it forces people to sell their long position, and then you have a big increase in volume, and price should lower. If it might reverse really sharply, but you'll still have a little push once we break that low. So that's what we did. And when this happened, usually either I just, when I'm happy, like if I see, price drops here and within that first candle, and I'm happy, now I made 4.3 instead of 3, I'll close my trade, and it's just for me to milk a little bit the trade. Or what I did here is I'll let price drop, and then I'll put my stop loss here and then drag it below price slowly and slowly as price drops, and then as soon as it reverses, it stops me out. That's what I did here. So I went from a 3.2 all trade to a 3.7, which still that little gain. Happy about it. So very happy about this win. I needed it. I really needed that win. And then from there, UK didn't give me any opportunity, and when I came to US, I did wake up here. It's my days off, so I don't mind waking up in the middle of the night. The short here wasn't making much sense to the low of the week. It wasn't a good enough risk to reward. Yeah, it was exactly similar thing. Price has already dropped into the UK extension, and by US Open, we were already at low of the week. You could have counted your level at 1, 2, 3. This was reversal area. There was no way I was entering a short, and I would have not known that this price action was coming. And then I know there's people that are gonna say, "Oh, you could have hold this trade all the way down and have that banger trade." This is not how I trade. I always aim for 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes I get 4 or 5. If I'm lucky, if the setup presents and is good enough. I do like to be in and out of my trades. I hate to hold or even keep a runner like some people do, because it's really rare that it will just keep dropping like this without doing a big retrace. And if I'm in a trade, and price does something like this and retrace here and then goes down, I don't want to give all this profit back and just see my trade being here and be like, all that unrealized profit is almost gone now. Maybe you hold and it goes lower, but it's too many emotions. Here in this trade, I open at 145, at 4, I'm out. So I like to be in and out within the session. It's a 3.7 hour trade. There's nothing to complain about. This is perfect. I get one like this a week. I'm happy. I'm the happiest person on earth. And then from Wednesday, you can see it was just terrible price action. If you made money here, good on you. I think it's terrible environment. I'm not saying sometimes there's something that present. You might have a nice M and then level 1 and a good retest of the 50 MA and down, and you might sneak a trade in here and it will be really nice, and then you get it goes up and down, and sometimes you might sneak a trade in and yeah, it'll work, but the overall conditions were not ideal. Thursday was at work anyway, and Friday I came in because I have backtested that here was consumer sentiment, and it's once every second week. It's a news event in US, and I've backtested this news event, and most of the time it creates an opportunity on Friday, which is you try to not trade on Fridays because you have traps. They try to trap people for the weekend, which they definitely did here. You know, like sharp move down, sharp move up, and then now you trap into this trade. So I came here with the bias of like, okay, I might hit a trade, and so I did not take that. And one of those setups that happens a lot is when price drops all the EMAs and then retest, and it will keep dropping. And this is what I thought was going to happen on Bitcoin here. I took this trade after that gray inverted hammer, didn't go further and reversed on me. Ethereum actually swept the low of the day here when Bitcoin held it, and this was sort of bullish. And here I won't deny that I had beautiful M on Ethereum, drop 1, drop 2, drop 3, M formation here, break back above the 50 and holding. I was tempted to open this trade. The thing is, I hate going to bed with a trade open, or at least a trade that I just entered. I did it Monday in that US session where I went to bed, but my trade was protected and I knew I was going to wake up 5 or 6 hours later. I was happy with to leave it open. My risk was managed. Here, I would have not entered and went to bed right after. And especially I was working here, so I already made the effort. I was waking up in the middle of the night while I was working because I thought an opportunity would present, and the only thing that happened is I took a loss. And the risk to reward wasn't amazing to previous highs, or when you have such a price ranging like this, you have to be very conservative with your targets on your trade. You can't go too far. So anyway, took that loss on Friday. So there you go. That's my week. Should have been a winner if I was full risk on that win, but sadly it's a loss for the week. But I'm super happy about that win. I'm confident. My trading has been great once again. I'm gonna drop a video about how I am approaching my prop firm risk this year. I've only been in a prop firm game since August, September, so a couple months, but I've already learned some lessons on how to approach risk and how to approach payouts as well, which I think has been misled on social media and YouTube about how to approach those. Once again, it's just my own opinion, but I'm just going to put it out there because it might help some people. All right, you guys have a good weekend. Don't forget, weekends are for resting. You don't want to. Well, here we had a bit of price going down so far, but usually price will range in here. There's nothing crazy to do. You're working all week. Take the weekend to have some time off. I love when Friday stops because I'm like, okay, trading is done. I have a couple days where I can fully disconnect and rest. And on Sunday afternoon, I'll do my charting. I'll sort of have a plan for the week, and I'll be excited about Monday trading. If you trade non-stop and don't take breaks, first of all, it's not good for you, for your mental, not good for your trading, and at some point you're not gonna enjoy it that much. So I enjoy my Friday and when I stop, and I love my Monday when I start.